Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Muralidhar Reddy. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect. Now we are going to discussing about Nexus Dashboard overview. Let's say the demo. So earlier we installed that Nexus and this is our nexus.techworldwithmurali.in. I logged in with the admin user. Here we can see that admin user. Now we can see that what are the options available in the dashboard, everything we can discuss. Okay. So first thing, right? First thing, you can go here in the welcome page. This is our welcome page, Nexus. And you can click the search box. Currently we don't have. And when you click the browse, right? And here we can see that all the repository related one. If you see here Maven Central, this is a type is proxy and Maven 2 and also Maven public and also releases, snapshot, everything we can able to see it. Here you have to remember, usually in real time, we'll use that snapshot and releases, we'll be store our either jar or var ER files in Nexus. If it is a Java based application, okay, understand right? This one we will do that. Okay, Maven related one. Understand right? Any questions? So now you can click that upload. And if you want to be upload anything you can do, but we won't be using. Now you can go to the settings option. And here there are a lot of options available we can discuss. First of all, repositories. And here you can see that, as I said, we have a multiple repositories. And here you can see the Maven FN snapshot. If you want to be store the snapshots, jar files, okay. And if you want to be store the releases, you can store it here. We can do that. And here default we have the snapshots and releases and public everything. In case if you want to be create, we can do that. Remember one thing, guys, in the Nexus, it is not only storing that jar or var file. We can also for NuGet, okay, everything. There are other things also we can do that. Let me see that how do we create the repository. There we can see that there are multiple options. Okay, now you can click the create a repository and here you can see that apt browser, okay, bower, okay, and there are multiple Docker related if you want to be stored and proxy and also hosted and also group. If you want to be group them, you can use the group, and also if you want to be store the hosted related, you can do that. Okay, and also here can come down Helm also. Usually in the real time, we'll be create that Maven 2 and then the hosted one. Just click this one. Remember again, I'm repeating for our enter Nexus related, especially for Maven. That's why I'm creating the Maven one. Select this one, and here I'm giving. How do we give this particular snapshot? Everything usually, right? We'll be give it. Example, you are working in the tech call with Murli company. Example, I'm telling. Then what we'll do, right? Tech iPhone snapshot. Okay, and then version policy here, whether it is a release or snapshot or mixed one. Mixed one means it will be allow both to store snapshot and releases. If you want to be store only snapshots, will be use snapshot. If you want to store only releases, will be use this particular release one. Okay, example, I'm selecting the snapshot, and then here you can see the layout policy, just stick only, leave it, and then content this one also inline only, just leave it, and a blob storage default only. And then here most important deployment policy, and whether you want to be disable the redeploy with the same version, you can select this one. If you select that allow redeploy, it will be allow the same version. If you are trying to push that jar file in the same version, it will be allow. If you select this one, it will be this it won't be allow same version. Okay, understand? Just example, I select here allow redeploy, and then if you want to be define any clean policy, here you can do that. But in our case, we don't have any clean options. Okay, now you can do that, create a repository. Okay, now we have created repository, and here we can see that where is that tech-snapshots. Now you can select this one, and here we can see that name, format, type, and URL, and whether it should be online or not. Just check this one, and then everything whatever we did, right, all the configurations we can able to see it here. In case if you want to be delayed, we can do that. Okay, clear, right? I will show you later sometime how do we push our jar file or var file to the Nexus. How do we integrate it inside the pom.xml, everything I will show you. Okay, fine. Any questions now? No, right? Okay. Next one, blob stores. And here you can see that how much total size utilized and how much available, everything you can see it here. Available space, 96 GB. Okay. And then cleanup policy. If you want to be create any cleanup policy, you can do that. Remaining two not require this one. That's why I'm not explaining. And if you want to be creating routing rules, you can do that. But routing rules also, it is very rare cases. Okay. Depends on use cases, but not much use. Just leave it. And then security, here we have a privileges. And here inside the privileges, we can see that what are the permissions. If you see here, if you use that NX-R, we are giving all permissions. Type is wildcard. That is permission is Nexus:*. It means it will be a Nexus:*. It means it will be admin level privileges. In case if you create a one user, if you add this particular one, right? The particular user having the admin level permissions. Okay. Now you can go to the roles, and in case if you want to be create any role, you can do that. Currently we have only two roles: NX-admin, NX-anonymous. In real time, right, we'll be create a separate role for developer, QA, okay, read only, will be create example Nexus role, and here we'll be give it the specific name, and here will be apply the specific privileges, everything will be do that one. Okay, and then users, and here we can see that total we have 2 users only. Remember one thing, guys, usually most of the organizations in the Nexus, especially Nexus, will be integrated with LDAP authentication. Okay, LDAP authentication will be do that, but some of the organizations, if they don't require much providing the access to the users, then right, they won't be integrated LDAP, and then we'll be create the normal users, create a local user, and then here example I'm giving that Murli user. Okay, and then here you can give it Murli Reddy. Okay, and then Murli, techworldwithmurali. techworldwithmurali @gmail.com. Okay. And then password, just I'm giving that Murali password. And then whether it is status, whether it is active or disabled. Active, just click the active. And here very most important, what permissions, whether you want to be give NX-admin means it is giving the admin level privileges. Okay, now you can go up a little bit. Yeah, here you need to be give it again. Not only. Now you can create this one. We'll be create this one, and we'll be share that particular password to them so that they will be use that particular password. But the reality, again, I'm repeating, most 99% of the organizations, they will be integrated with LDAP. We don't require to create a manual users and do that. Everything, it will go through the LDAP only. And anonymous access, in real time, we won't be give it. Okay, and then LDAP. These are one of the most important. As I said, right? If you want to be authenticate using AD, right, Active Directory, we will be set up the LDAP. Here in this LDAP, right, here we have 2 options, LDAP and LDAP-S. LDAP-S is nothing but secure, and here we need to define this particular everything. Here you may ask question, Murali, this particular LDAP related one, who will be provide these details? Usually, if that particular company having Linux admin team, we need to reach out them, they will be provided to us. In case if they don't have admin team, Linux admin team, usually we may need to be taking care of this particular one. We need to be set up that LDAP and need to declare that all the details, and we need to test the connectivity. Okay, clear, right? And this one you can ignore it, and then you can come down a little bit. SSL certificates. If you want to be upload any SSL certificate for this particular Nexus, we need to be upload add certificate, and then here you can see that paste the IPM everything. And here usually this particular Nexus related we don't require. The reason we have already added the ACM, right? That's why you are accessing using HTTPS. Okay, and this particular one is manage trust SSL certificate to use the Nexus Trust Store. Okay, if you want, you can do that. But when it comes to the real time, we won't be used much this one. You can ignore it. IQ server, you can ignore it. And then you can come down a little bit. Support, just click the support. And here you can see that logging. On this particular logging, right? Here we have a multiple options. Example root or example specific one. Okay, if you want to be currently it is enable the info level. In case if you want to be changed from info to other logger level. Here you can see that error, warning, info, debug, trace. There are multiple. If you want to be off also, you can do that. Okay, understand that? And also if you want to reset default value, you can do that one, and you can save with this one. But this is depends on use cases. We may require to enable that, but not much. Okay, next one, logs. In this logs, right, you don't require to log into that Linux server and go to that check the logs and verify it. But directly right in the AWS in the Nexus only, we can directly come here logs, and here we can check it, audit logs, JVM logs, Nexus logs, everything we can able to check it here. Okay, clear, right? Example, I'm checking that audit log, and here you can see that these are the audit logs, and here you can see the refresh every 20 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Here you can select it, and also size, and here you can select example 100 KB, and then if you want to be download, you can download here. Maximum it is 100 KB only. Okay, now you can go to the status, and in this particular status it will be provide the information whether whatever we set up correctly or not, is there any erroring. Example, if you see here available CPUs, usually we took the 2 cores, but the recommended way 4 cores, 4 CPUs. Okay, but practice purpose, that's why I said practice purpose 2 CPUs is enough, but in the reality recommended way at least 4 CPUs. Okay, and then support zip, it will be zip or everything, all the content, example log files, task log files, everything. If you want to be take the zip file, you can do that one. And system information, and here most important guys, you don't require to log into that Linux server to check what is the version, everything. Directly check it from Nexus dashboard as well. And here we have a system information. It will give the what is the version, what is the edition. Okay, whether it is open source or whether it is pro, everything we can able to see it here. What is the build version, build timestamp. Okay, no, Nexus node related one. Everything you can able to see it here. Here you can see that directive path and working directive path, temporary directing path, what exactly, what is the port number. Okay, everything you can able to see it here. And the next one, right, system. In system, we have multiple options. We can check one by one. First one is API. Here we can get that API related one programmatically. If you want to be using this one, we can do that assets and that's Azure blob storage. There are multiple. Okay, in reality, right, we won't be use this particular APIs much, but in case we want to do something from code, right, we can use this particular APIs. Example, this is one of the API. Okay, clear, right? Fine. Now you can go to the bundles, you can ignore it, capabilities, you can ignore it, and then you can come down email server. And this particular email server, you can enable it and you can provide that host name, everything here, the particular username, password, everything. Okay, fine, right? And then HTTP, just discard these changes. You can ignore the HTTP licensing part. This is one of the most important guys. Okay, as I said earlier, usually Nexus in real time, we won't be use the open source. We'll be use the pro only. Then what you have to do? Once you install, installation process for same for both open source and pro only. But only changes is once we interact with the Nexus team, they will be provide that particular license key. Then what you have to do? We need to be uploaded. The particular license key, we need to be uploaded. Once you upload it, right, we may require to restart our Nexus. Once you restart, right, it will be reflect our whatever we purchase that plan, it will be reflect the changes. Okay, understand, right? This particular license we can get it only from Nexus team. Okay, usually when you are working the organization, you will be work with the Nexus team, and we'll be discussing with that we require this many, this is our requirement. Then they will be suggest to go with this plan, depends on that one. We'll be discuss internally our team, and then we'll be purchase that particular one. Okay, and one more thing, guys, purchasing part, it is not responsible for DevOps engineer. Okay, it means just will be raise the ticket with the team. Okay, financial team. Once they approve, they will be taking care of these things. Okay, we won't be taking care like purchasing. I mean, we will be raise the ticket, but the payment related one, finance team, they will be taking care. Okay, understand, right? Fine. Now we can come down notes under task. Here you can see that currently we have any. Okay, these are the options available. Any questions? And also we are using that specific Nexus version is 3.70.0.2-01. Okay, and also here you can see that your user, this is our user, and here you can see the username, your first name, last name, and email ID. Here we can see that. And also if you want to be create a API key, you get a API key, you can create a API key. First you need to be define your password, current password, and then you need to declare this one. Okay, any questions here? This is the most important Nexus dashboard you should be aware of. And then once you understood this one, right, you can easy to push the particular jar file to the Nexus. Later video, I will show you how do we push the particular jar or ER files to the Nexus. Okay, understand it? I hope understand that. Now we are going to discussing about integrating Nexus with Maven. Let's see the demo so that you will get some idea. So for that one, right, here we have a GitHub repository that is techworldwithmurali, DevOps 0 to hero, day 11. Okay, and here we have written that integrating Nexus with Maven documentation. We can follow this documentation and we can set up. First thing, right, before going to set up, first we required prerequisites. Only Java 11 or higher version you need to be installed. Second one is you need to be installed Maven and Nexus also up and running. For that one, right, here I have created one folder, Nexus folder, and here I'm opening that git bash so that we can check Java, Nexus version, everything. Sorry, Java and Maven version. Okay, and here I'm giving MVN. Sorry, first I'm checking that Java version, Java -hyphen version. Now if we see here, we have installed the Java 17. Okay, super. And also I'm checking that Maven -hyphen version. If you see here, Maven also install 3.9.9. Okay, and also here we can see that our Maven also is running. Sorry, Nexus also is running 3.70 version. It is up and running. Okay, I logged in with that particular Nexus as well. The URL is nexus.techworldwithmurali.in. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Fine. Now you can go to here, and here first step, right? We need to clone the repository. For that one, I'm using git clone. I'm cloning the repository related to user registration. Okay. Now you can copy this one. Now you can go here. I'm going to clone the repository. Now enter. If you see here, it is not asking any credentials. It is directly cloning the repository. The reason earlier we already configured those credentials is stored in the credentials manager. If you go here, credentials manager, and then go to the Windows credentials, and here you can see that github.com related one. Okay, understand that? That's why it is not asking any credentials, directly cloning the repository. Any questions now? Remember one thing, this user-registration is the one of the microservice. Okay. This microservice, it is a Java-based application, Spring Boot application. So using this one, we'll be generate the jar or var file, and then we'll be push that particular jar or var file to the Nexus. That's why we are integrating. If you see here, integrating Nexus with Maven to store our jar or var ER file to the Nexus. In our case, it is jar file. How do we identify? Go to the pom.xml, inside the pom.xml, and here you can see that whether it will be generate a jar or var file. It is generating jar file. In case if it is not defined also, default it will be generate jar only. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Super. This part is clear. Now what you have to do, go here. Go here. Here, this is fine. And then I'm going to that user registration. And also I'm opening that Atom editor so that we can see that all the things. Okay. First thing, before going to integrate with Nexus, first I'm doing that MVN package. If you see here, when I give the MVN package, it will be generate the jar or var file. As I said, in our case, it will be generate the jar file. And if you see here, here it is using compiler plugin and also resources, compiler plugin, Surfire plugin for test cases. Okay, everything it is using. Wait for a few seconds. Meanwhile, let me open this folder, user-registration in the Atom editor so that we can easy to understand. I mean, we can see it here. Go to the file, add project, and then go to the Nexus, and then open this user-registration. Okay, clear, right? Now, if you see here, it is generated the target directory. It is generated the jar file as well. If you see here, this is our jar file. When we do that MVN, package, okay, when we do that MVN package, it will be generate the package. Okay, understand, right? Now we need to push that particular whatever generated jar or var file, right? We need to push to Nexus Artifactory. Then what you have to do? For that one, what I'm going to do? I'm going to use MVN deploy. Okay, MVN deploy. When you do the MVN deploy, right, what will happen? It will be validate, compile, test, package, verify, and install. Then it will be do the deploy. Okay, if you see here, each and everything it is using the specific plugin. Surefire plugin for test cases. Okay, and also for install plugin for install related plugin for MVN install. Now still is going on, started. Okay, yeah, if you see here, test cases, we have only one. It is run. Okay, one test cases. And here you can see, right? If you go up little bit, and here you can see that install plugin it is using, and it is downloading from central repository, the specific plugin. And also if we come down little bit, and also we are using MVN deploy. What MVN deploy do, right? It will be push the particular jar or var ER file to the artifact tool, either Nexus or JFrog. Okay. In our case, we are discussing about Nexus. That's why here it will be pushed that to the Nexus. But the thing is, when we do the MVN deploy, here it is throwing the error failed to execute goal. Okay. Here it is throwing the deployment failed. Repository element was not specified in the POM inside distribution management. If you see here, inside the POM.xml, we have a distribution management. There we haven't declared. That's what it is throwing the error. Then what you have to do? Go here, go to that documentation, and then you can come down a little bit. Here we can see, right? Configure POM.xml to use Nexus. For that one, right? Inside the POM.xml, we need to define the distribution. This is the distribution. Inside the distribution, we have two things. One is snapshot repository. Second one is repository. Okay. In the snapshot repository, right? Here we are declaring that ID is called Nexus-snapshot. And here we are declaring that the specific snapshot related URL. Where it is getting from? Nexus.techworldwithmurali/repository/Maven-snapshot. Where we are getting this URL? Go to that Nexus, go to the settings, and here you can see that repositories. Click this repositories, and here you can see that Maven-snapshot and Maven-releases. Click this Maven-snapshots. Here you got that URL, right? This URL you need to be defined here. Okay, and here you have to remember. In our case, I'm accessing using DNS name, because in real time also we always use the DNS name. That's why. Second thing is, right, repository, the specific repository. Okay, and this snapshot related one will be defined here. Repository is nothing but our releases. Okay, here also same Maven-releases. As I said, right, here only available Maven-releases. Here you have to remember one thing, guys. In real time, usually they may store it in the Maven-snapshot default one, Maven-releases. But sometimes, right, organization they will be create a new repository, and then they will be create the customized repository. There they will be push it. They depends on project to project. Okay, but in our case, right, we are using default Maven-snapshot only. We are storing there. Okay, any questions now? Any questions? Now what we have to do? We need to define this inside the POM.xml. Copy this one. Go to the POM.xml. Here you can see the POM.xml. Come down a little bit. After build before project tag, I'm declaring here. If you see here we declare that distribution management, everything. Now you can save this one, and again you can go here in the error also. Inside the POM, inside the distribution management, we haven't declared. That's why we got this error. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to run this particular one. MVN. What is that? Deploy. Okay, MVN deploy. So MVN deploy is going on, and first it is running the test cases, and then it will be installed, and then it will be do that. I mean, push that particular jar or var file to the Nexus. Let's see that. jar file, Spring Boot application, okay, install, deploy. If you see here, deployment. Deployment also now it is failed to execute goal, and failed to retrieve remote metadata, the specific URL. Why we are getting? We are getting the status code 401, the specific URL. This is our URL we mentioned, right? This particular URL, we got the error. We got the 401. The reason, right? It is unauthorized. Okay, it is unauthorized. In our case, our Nexus repository, it is running fine. Okay, and also we have a Maven snapshot, but the thing is, we don't have an authentication. We haven't declared the authentication. That's why here it is throwing the error. Okay, now what we have to do? We need to define our Nexus related authentication details inside the setting.xml. Okay, let me see that. Go here, come down a little bit, and here we can see that configure Maven to use Nexus. And here inside the setting.xml, we need to define the specific details. If you see here, this one, server, and then ID, Nexus, username admin, password is admin@250, same. This is the Nexus-religious, username is admin, password this one. Here you have to remember this ID, whatever we mention inside the pom.xml ID, this both should be matched. This ID, and then whatever you are going to declare inside the setting.xml, this ID, both should be matched. Then only that particular Nexus, that particular distribution management Nexus endpoint, right, knows, okay, I need to use these credentials to authenticate. Okay, understand that? Admin@250. Understand, right? Here you have to remember, for practice purpose, you can give any name, that is fine. Okay, but the reality, right, usually we will be maintain the service account. Service account is nothing but common user, and then we will be integrated. Okay, understand that? This part is clear, right? Same thing for this one also. Now here we have two options, guys, inside the setting.xml. One is wherever you install the Maven. Inside the Maven, we have a config directory. There we have a setting.xml. Inside the setting.xml, you need to define this one. That is the one option. Second option, right? .m2 directory. Inside the .m2 directory, we have a setting.xml. There we can define. Okay, that is your wish. Whether you want to be defined in the Maven level, whether you want to be defined in the user level, you can do anything. Okay, you can do anything. Clear, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this one. Just we don't record servers. It will be already there. Just we need to declare the server tag. Okay, just copy this one. Now we need to know. Okay, in my case, right? In my case, my Maven is installed in the C drive. If you see here, C drive software Maven. Okay, and here we have a config directory. Inside the config directory, we have a setting.xml. Edit this one. Again, I'm repeating. In my case, my Maven is installed in the C drive software's Maven folder. Okay, and inside the Maven folder, we have a config directory. There we have a setting.xml. And if you see here, inside the setting.xml, we will be declare the server tag. If you come down a little bit, yeah, if you see here, server tag. Here inside the server tag, we need to define our Nexus related authentication details. Again, I'm repeating here inside the server tag, we need to define our these things. Okay, just copy this one, go here. Okay, go here. Now you can save it, Control S. Now I have saved it. Now I'm going to run that ambient deploy again. Let's see. Okay, earlier we got that unauthorized. Now we have declared correct credentials. Now I'm doing that ambient deploy. Okay, always recommended way, right? Do the ambient clean and then deploy. The reason, right? When you do that ambient clean, it will be delete every time the target directory, and then it will be created new target directory, and then it will be stored, generate the jar file, everything. Okay. If you are not mentioning also fine, but the thing is, in case sometimes, right, it will still keep on fetching that older data only if you not done the ambient clean command. Okay. It won't be updated sometimes. Not always, sometimes. Okay, now here we can see that now it is going on. Okay, wait for a few seconds. Remember one more thing, guys. Here our sample application, it is taking only 30 seconds to 45 seconds. But the reality in the real time, right? it may take 5 minutes, 10 minutes also to run everything. Okay. Now, if you see here, it is downloading and then it is progressing. Yeah, it is uploading the specific size. If you see here, it is uploading to Nexus snapshot and the total size is 63 MB. That is the specific jar file is uploading. Okay, awesome. Wait for a few seconds. Depends on size, right? It will take little bit time. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, go here, Nexus, and then you can just copy this URL. Okay. Now you can go here, meanwhile, just enter this one. Now if you see here we have two options, guys. One is browse. If you click the browse, right, inside this particular Nexus dashboard only, we can able to see the browse option. If you see here, com.murali, the reason that is the group ID. Artifact ID. Inside the artifact ID, we mentioned the snapshot. Inside the snapshot, first time we build, right? That's why what Maven deploy, right? That's why it is -1. Inside the -1, we can see the jar file. Okay, this is the browse option. And if you want to see the HTML view, just click this HTML view, and here we can see that. Now if you see here, if you go here, the build is success, and also to push that particular jar file to the Nexus. Understand, right? How do we do? Now I'm going to show you how can we check this one. For that one, right now, first we have given this HTML view. That is fine. Now what you have to do, go to your pom.xml. Okay. Now we can see it. First thing, if you observe here, we mentioned that group ID is com.murali. Correct? We mentioned that group ID is com.murali. Now you can go here, com and Murali. Understand, right? Inside the Murali, we mentioned that group artifact ID is user-registration. Correct? Now, if you see here, user-registration. Now you can enter here. Now, if you see here, we mentioned that version is snapshot version. Now, if you go and check it here, this is our snapshot. Click this one. And we did Maven deploy first time, right? That's why it is giving that -1. If you see here, -1. Now enter. Now, if you see here it is generated the jar file. In case if you want to be download, we can download this particular jar file as well. Okay, understand, right? This is the process of pushing our jar or var ER file to the Nexus. Not only jar or var ER, we can also push Docker images also in the Nexus as well. But in our case, we are discussing how do we push our jar or var file to the jar or var ER file to the Nexus. You integrate with Maven. Okay, understand that? Similar process, guys. Even if it's jar or var file, okay, similar process only. In case if you want to be download, if you click this one, right, it will be download. If you see here, it is downloading. Okay, and the same thing, guys. One more thing, not only application related jar file. Sometimes, right, some of the project they may create a common jar file. The particular jar files will be used in the other applications. We will be stored those jar files in the Nexus or JFrog artifact file. Okay, that is also one of the process we will be using. Even though if you use that microservices, okay, some of the project they may use the dependencies jar files in the Nexus. Those jar files will be declared in the individual applications, and then when you do that the specific Maven package, right, generating jar file, during that time it will be read from dependencies packages from Nexus or JFrog artifact, and then it will be var. Okay, understand, right? Any questions this one? Again, I'm repeating what we did. If you can go to the documentation. Now, if you see here, this part is clear, and we did Maven clean deploy. And remember one thing, usually inside the builder section, you need to define this plugin. The plugin is Maven deploy plugin, and the specific version, you need to mention it. Okay, but if you go and check it here, right, in our case, we don't have that Maven. Let me check it. Yeah, if you see here, we don't have any plugin related to the specific one. What is that? This particular Maven deploy plugin. Okay, usually you need to define, and you may ask question, Murali, without defining also it is working. Yes, in the latest versions, right? Without defining also, it will be take the latest version. But if you define plugins inside this build section, right? Now, whatever you mention the version, this particular version will be used. Okay, now just copy this one. Just plugins, and you can go here, plugins, where is that plugins? Come down a little bit. Yeah, if you see here, this is the plugins. Now inside the plugins only, inside the plugin, I'm going to declare here. Okay, now you can save this one. Okay, understand that? Fine. Now you need to define the group ID as well. Let me see it, whether it is there or not. Okay, anyway, let me try this one. Let's see. MVN deploy. Now it is going on. Okay. If you observe one thing here, deploy version earlier was different, but after you define inside the pom.xml that specific plugin, that is 2.8.2, same version using. Understand that? This plugin was installed in the initial stage. If you go up little bit, Yeah, earlier it was 3.1.3, but now whatever we mentioned, it is downloaded. Okay. Now, if you see here, downloading from central repository, the specific Maven plugin, it is installed. Okay. And then if you come down little bit here, here we can see that specific plugin version only using, and then it is pushed to either Nexus or JFrog. Okay. In our case, Nexus only. If you come down little bit and here build is success. Now what you can do, go to the Nexus and then click this HTML view again, pom.murali, okay, and then user registration, and then zeros. And here you can see, right, second time we push it right, deploy right, that's why it is showing that -2. And here we can see the jar file is stored to Nexus. And here you have to remember, don't confuse MVN deploy is nothing but it's not deploy. It means it will be store our jar or var file to the Nexus or JFrog. Okay, be careful. And also one of the most important, what is the difference between MVN install and deploy? We already discussed in the Maven course, right? If you remember. Okay, that is also most important. Understood, right? How do we define the specific plugin, everything? Now you can go to the documentation, and here we can see that we accessed our Nexus, and also we saw that snapshots also it is stored to inside the Nexus, and we are able to access it, and also we saw that whether the jar file is stored or not. Okay, clear, right? Any questions? Any questions? Now, so far we discussed everything, like what is exactly Nexus, okay, and also what is how do we install the Nexus on the Linux, and also how do we integrate Nexus with this particular one. Okay, and also we discussed about Nexus dashboard, what are the options available, everything we discussed. Okay, if you have any questions, I hope. Now we are going to discussing about cleaning up the Nexus artifact. Let's see the demo. Our practice is completed. Now we need to clean up, right? Otherwise, what will happen? It will be increase the cost. If you are not paying, your account will be deactivated. So now what I'm going to do, I'm logging to that AWS, and here you can go to the EC2, and then I'm checking that first instances. And here, if you see here, Nexus related instances running. Now I'm going to delete this one. Now you can terminate this. Yeah. Now what will happen? Now Nexus is deleting. The next step, right? Go to that load balancers, and we need to delete the load balancer as well. If you go here, load balancers, and here we can see the specific load balancer. Now you can select this one, actions, delete, and then you can confirm here. Okay. And then now it will be delete the Nexus load balancer as well. And then you can go to the target groups, and here we can see the Nexus related target group. Select this one, go to the actions, and here you can see the delete this one. Now it will be delete. Once you delete, right, you can't undo. Please be careful when you are deleting. Yes, delete. Now if you see here, it is deleted. Now what you have to do? Now you can go to the Route 53. Now you can go to the Route 53. Now here we need to delete our record as well. Now go to that hosted zones, and then here go to the techworldwithmurali, and then here we can see that nexus.techworldwithmurali.in. Select this one, delete record, and now I'm deleting the Nexus related record as well. So this is the process of cleaning up. First, we have deleted the EC2, load balancer, target group, and also the specific record in the hosted zone as well. Okay, any questions now? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram, and also we have Tech World with Murali website. In this website, I already published all the DevOps related courses. If you are planning to enroll the course, you can come here and enroll it. Here we published DevOps, AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform, logging and monitoring, Helm, everything, networking, everything. Here we have a 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year plans available. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you next video.